Hey guys, Mike back here with another stock strategy explained, and today we're going to be looking at the NIO stock. This stock has been on an absolute tear in the last few days, and it was actually recommended by one of my subscribers, so why not take a look? We're going to be taking a look at their financials, their market cap, and ultimately if they're worth a buy. Before we begin, make sure you comment down below. What do you think of the NIO stock? Do you own any? And if so, why? Also, make sure you like and subscribe for more future updates on other stocks and other stock strategies. I just want to give a quick reminder, this is not legal, tax, or financial investment advice. Make sure you do your own homework and your own research before you do any investing. I am not a financial advisor. And with that, let's jump right into the NIO stock. We're going to be taking a look at their products, their market cap and valuation, and how they compare against other companies, and is their growth justified, and if you should invest. So first, let's take a look at NIO's products. So NIO mainly sells cars. They're an electric vehicle manufacturer, and they have three main flagship cars. They have the ES6, which is their flagship SUV, and has a range of about 610 kilometers or 380 miles. Their next car is the ES8, which is their more premium SUV. This is a 6 to 7 seater SUV, and it has a range of about 580 kilometers and 360 miles. And their last car, the E67, which is kind of like a coupe slash mini sized SUV, and it has a range of about maximum 615 kilometers, which is about 382 miles. NIO also has a few other products like power walls and home services, but I won't get into those because they mainly manufacture and sell cars, and that's where most of their revenue comes from. The interesting thing to note is that, again, their ES6 is their flagship, and they have delivered about 2,600 ES6s since October, and they've delivered about 1,400 ES8s and only about 883 ES6s. So the ES6s don't sell nearly as well as the ES8 or the ES6. I won't get too much into the actual product because I've never actually used them, and I am not a car reviewer, so I'll definitely link some videos down below so you can get a sense of how these cars stack up. But I think the general consensus is that these are pretty good electric vehicles. Not nearly as good as Tesla's, but still pretty passable and definitely worth a look for your money. So now that you have a sense of what NIO is, again, they're an electric vehicle manufacturer mainly based in China. Let's take a look at their market cap and their stock and how they compare with other car companies. So taking a look at their stock, they have been on an absolute tear recently, and it's mainly due to new funding from the Chinese government. In the last month, they're up almost 100%, which is insane. In the last 3 months, they're up over 200%, which is very unheard of in the last 3 months, especially with the pandemic. And then in the last year alone, they're up over 1,800%. So obviously they're on a huge tear. They're worth a lot of money. They have an insane growth rate in the last year. And with their market cap, they're now valued at about $56 billion. So for a little bit of comparison, Ford is worth about $30 billion. GM is worth about $53 billion. Toyota is worth about $218 billion. SAIC Motor, which is the biggest manufacturer of cars in China right now, is $323 billion, and Tesla is about $407 billion. So you can see NIO is slotted right around GM's market cap, which is about 50 to 60 billion. But the interesting thing to note is that they're not nearly on the same size or scale as GM. GM delivers anywhere between 500 to 600,000 car deliveries every 3 months. And NIO, in the last 3 months, only delivered about 12,000 vehicles. So you can see they're on very different scales, but very similar valuations. And so I think the question is, why is that? The main reason for this is, well, there's a lot of growth already priced into the stock. People are expecting NIO to grow very fast, very soon. And a big reason for this is NIO is a big player in the Chinese car market. So if you didn't know, China is actually the biggest market for cars, mainly due to the number of people that they have. If you think about it, America, we have about 330 million people. If you have about a car every person, that's about 300 million cars, right? But in China, if you have a car every person, that's about 1 billion cars. So right off the bat, their car market is 3 times the size of America's. The other thing to note here is China did actually give NIO a large check to fund them, and so the Chinese government owns a decent share of NIO. And China also wants 25% of all car sales in 2025 to be new energy vehicles, and electric vehicles such as Tesla and NIO are best poised to capture a lot of that growth. The other thing to note here is that they are growing very fast. They're growing at 100% year over year right now in terms of car deliveries and car sales. But I do think that's a little bit of a red herring, especially with their low number of deliveries. Again, in October 2020, they only delivered about 5,000 vehicles. So when you have that low of a volume, it's pretty easy to have 100% year over year growth. And another big question that a lot of people ask is NIO going to be Tesla, right? We know Tesla has a huge market cap of about 400 billion. Is NIO going to be like them? I think my answer is kind of. But just because they look the same and they have a very similar product lineup doesn't mean that they're the same companies. You really have to look at how they operate, what the markets they're in, and how they invest their money and how they invest their resources in R&D. If you look at Tesla, they're investing very heavily in self-driving technology, they're investing very heavily in battery manufacturing, and they're investing very heavily in charging infrastructure with their superchargers. However, with NIO, I don't see nearly as much of that. So again, they look very similar, but I would say in terms of what they're investing in and how they operate, slightly different. And I would definitely say Tesla is definitely ahead of the ball game and worth more than NIO currently. So then I think the question really comes down to is, should you buy NIO and do you think it'll grow even further? I think if you want to buy NIO now, you really are betting in the future growth of NIO. You're really betting that NIO will grow at a very fast rate and will sell a lot more cars in 2 to 3 to 5 years' time. For me, I can definitely see NIO becoming a big player in the car market in China, but I don't think they're going to be nearly as dominant as, say, Tesla in America or even Toyota in America. So for those reasons, I think $50 billion can be a valid valuation. But if you're buying right now, you're probably expecting NIO stock to double or triple. And I think the path to $100 billion in market cap valuation or $150 billion is a little less clear for me. I would say NIO right now is a weak buy, given that they do have a large market opportunity, but it's not clear that NIO is for sure going to win a large share of market in China. I would say NIO stock right now is a high risk, high reward stock. Again, if they can capture a large market share of China's, not just their electric vehicles market, but all of their car market, I could definitely see them worth being 50 to 100 to maybe even $150 billion in market cap. So for the most part, I'd say this is a weak buy, but the bigger thing is I wouldn't expect 100% month over month gains and growth moving forward. I would say if you temper your expectations and if you see a consistent 10 to 15% growth year over year, then I think this could be a reasonable buy. Again, still high risk, still high reward, but I do think that they're entering and competing in a very important car market space, which is China. And with that, I wrap up my analysis of NIO, the electric vehicle car company. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of NIO now. Are you going to buy NIO or are you still going to hold off? Or maybe you have NIO. Are you still going to hold it or are you going to sell? And with that, just a reminder again, make sure you understand a product strategy before you do any investing in a company and make sure you make some money. Peace.